Imagine, your mother's voice is the last hope you cling to, as flames crawl up your skin, and a crowd of neighbors, friends, even children stand watching, some cheering, some silent, all complicit. Today I'll tell you a story not just of cruelty, but of how quickly we humans can become monsters when fear and anger lead us. This is the story of Ade, a boy whose only crime was being poor, and whose final scream for his mother still echoes in the rain. The sad story of a boy who did not see the next sunrise. It was on a day that the morning sun refused to shine. It hid behind thick swollen clouds as though ashamed to witness what the earth was about to do. The air itself seemed to hold its breath. Birds quieted on their branches. Even the village goats stopped their restless bleating as if they too could sense the tragedy waiting to unfold. Down a narrow, dusty path, they dragged him. No, not like a human being. Not like someone with a heartbeat and memories and laughter. They dragged him like a dead goat, like a tattered sack of cassava peels meant for the refuse pit. His name was Ade. He was barely 19. His life still so new, still catching its breath. But there was no one left to call him by his name. To them, he was already something else. Thief, criminal, scum. The rope cut deep into his wrists, digging angry purple wounds into his flesh. His hands were cold, almost lifeless. His knees scraped against the rough ground, leaving trails of torn skin and fresh blood. Every jolt forward opened those wounds wider. His shirt, once a bright yellow that his mother had saved up to buy for Christmas, was now ripped, stained with sweat, tears, and the slow, dark bloom of his own blood. The village square lay ahead. It was meant to be a place of joy, a ground where they danced during the New Yam festival, where masquerades leapt and drummers called to the spirits. But today the drums were silent, the masquerades were absent, only humans stood there, their faces twisted in rage and eager anticipation. People poured in from every corner, pressing close, their mouths loud, eyes wild. Some spat on the ground as he passed, others pointed with trembling fingers, eager to fix the blame on someone, anyone, so long as it wasn't them. "Criminal!" a woman shrieked, her face contorted with hate. "Wicked boy!" muttered an old man, his cane tapping the earth like a judge's gavel. "He should be killed. Animals like him don't deserve breath," someone else snarled. "What did he even steal?" a curious onlooker asked, standing on tiptoes to see better. The Baba Oloja, thick-bodied, sweat pouring down his cheeks, lips pulled into a triumphant sneer, stepped forward and stabbed a finger in Ade's direction.
"My ajo money, 10,000 naira!" he bellowed. "He entered my shop. When I stepped out for just 1 minute, who else could it be? He's the only stranger here this morning. Who else?" It didn't matter that no one had seen Ade with money. It didn't matter that he had no history of theft. In that single heartbeat, the crowd accepted his guilt. They craved justice, fast, hard, bloody. The truth could take its time. They wouldn't wait. Ade's lips trembled. His voice cracked, parched, from thirst and fear. "I didn't take anything, please, please, I swear on my mother's life." But his words were swallowed by a wave of angry voices. They didn't want his protests. They didn't want his tears. They wanted the satisfaction of seeing punishment, of knowing they could unleash their own hidden hungers on someone weaker. The first stone struck him on the forehead. It wasn't large, but it was sharp. It split his skin open, sent a thin line of blood running down his temple. His scream cut through the air, raw and disbelieving. He clutched his head, trying to crawl away. Then another rock hit his shoulder, another slammed into his back. Someone's foot swung out and caught him square in the ribs. A sickening crack followed. Ade folded onto himself, gasping, eyes wide with terror. Still they didn't stop. Children joined in, boys no older than Ade, eager to prove they were men. They picked up stones, bits of broken pots, even handfuls of sand, which they threw into his eyes. Mothers stood watching, some with grim satisfaction, others with dark curiosity. The village elders, who were supposed to uphold truth and fairness, simply stood there, watching. Their silence was approval. Ade tried to speak, but each breath brought a stamp of pain. His mouth tasted of blood and dust. His tears ran hot and fast, carving muddy tracks down his cheeks. His mind screamed for help, for someone, anyone, to see that he was telling the truth. Then his voice broke through the chaos, high and shattering. "Mama! Mama! Help me! Please, Mama!"
But his mother was not there. She had left at dawn, carrying her basket to the farm fetch firewood. She was humming a song about how her son would one day build her a fine house in the city. She did not know that as she stooped to gather fallen branches, her only child was being murdered. The mob pushed Ade to the center of the square. Someone produced a tire, bald and dirty, but still perfectly suited for death. They forced it over his shoulders, twisting his arms painfully behind him. Someone else brought a jerry can, half full of petrol. "Pour it!" a voice growled. The smell of petrol flooded Ade's nose. He gagged. The liquid was cold on his skin, soaking into the wounds on his back, making them burn anew. His body began to shake uncontrollably. His teeth chattered as he whispered rapid prayers he could barely remember. "Please, please, I didn't do it. I want to live. I want to live." But mercy was already gone. It had left the village long ago, chased out by fear and the sweet intoxication of power. A matchstick flared. The man who struck it held it up for everyone to see, a tiny, bright sun. Then he tossed it. The flames roared to life, greedy and savage. They danced up the petrol-soaked tire, wrapped around Ade's chest, leapt to his hair. Ade's scream was not human. It was the cry of every tortured creature, every slaughtered lamb, every heart that had ever known despair. It ripped through the village, tore at the sky. Birds exploded from trees, goats bolted. He tried to crawl out of the fire, but someone shoved him back with a stick, forcing him deeper into the inferno. His skin blistered, split open. His hands clawed at the earth, fingers curling, nails breaking off. His lips moved, just barely. Maybe he was saying, "I'm sorry." Maybe it was, "I'm afraid." Or maybe he was still calling for his mother. Then, silence. The fire crackled on, a cruel orchestra, until finally it too began to die. What was left of Ade was a twisted, blackened shape that no longer looked human. The villagers stood around him, panting, sweat dripping down their faces. Some looked satisfied, others looked oddly empty, as though something had been stolen from them too. And then, too late, a boy ran into the square. His chest heaved, tears streaked his face. "It wasn't him," he screamed. "It wasn't Ade. It was the Baba Oloja's cousin. She just confessed to me. She took the money. She's hiding it in her room." Silence, as heavy as a funeral cloth. The Baba Oloja staggered back, his face drained of color. The crowd stared at their hands, bloody, dust-caked, trembling. A woman let out a shriek that tore at the air, then collapsed to the ground. Another old man began to weep openly, his shoulders shaking. They had killed an innocent boy. A boy with dreams of going to the city to learn a trade. A boy who once chased chickens through his mother's yard. A boy whose only crime was being poor, being unknown, being easy to blame. Above them, the clouds, which had been watching all along, could hold back no longer. Rain began to fall, soft at first, then harder, beating down on the square, washing over the smoldering remains, not to cleanse their guilt. No, the rain came to mourn, to weep with the heavens for a life snatched so brutally. Each drop seemed to whisper Ade's name. And Ade's mother? She returned to find only ashes. She fell to her knees, hands clawing at the earth. Her wail rose up, climbed into the sky, begging for her son's spirit to forgive her for not being there. We live in a world where accusation spreads faster than truth, where the crowd's voice can drown out justice, where a single lie whispered by someone powerful can sentence a soul to flames. Let us not be so eager to judge. Let us not let anger blind us to compassion. Remember Ade. Remember his screams that still echo beneath the rain, because tomorrow it could be your brother, your son, or even you.